What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Crypto Crow. Is this thing on? Is this working? I can't tell. There's nobody in chat, and I think it's because this is about a cruise and nobody gives a shit. But I'm going to share my story anyway, after I talk a little bit about crypto, of course. What's up, Larcy? What's happening? Uh-oh. Oh. Oops. No. Let me close that. Jeez, oh Pete's. What's up? Yes, I am back. I went on a vacation and I didn't tell anybody I was going. I did pre-schedule some videos and things. I can hear you. Oh man, what a week. It's been a crazy week in crypto. It's been a crazy week with Bitcoin. And so several months back, my wife decided to schedule us a vacation. It ended up being a 5-day Royal Caribbean cruise. It was our first cruise. Man, lot to talk about. If you're interested in taking a cruise and you've never been, you're going to want to watch this video. Let me just say that. What's up, Roach? King Cardano's in the house. Just came back from Thailand. Man, that's a long way to go, brother. So as I was on vacation, I was checking out the news and all that, and I'm probably going to come back on Monday and do a really big crypto video. But this is just, this literally just popped up on a 12-hour candle. I just got a sell signal pop up. I'm assuming it happened a while ago. Yeah, on the 4-hour. Yeah, I mean it looked like it pumped. It was up to almost 9,200, and then it dropped back down again. But I would say we're still fine. Like, of course, I've been saying this for a while, and we have been. We're gonna get ebbs and flows. There's just not. But I'm still counting on seeing an $11,000 to $14,000 Bitcoin price by the time the halving rears its head. And Hedera hash graph really kicking tail, up 61% over the last 7 days at a market price of just about 5 cents. Almost, it's getting closer to 6 cents. Ren, which I don't know anything about. Matic Network up 31%. Interesting. Kyber Network's been getting some interesting activity. So I'm definitely going to be looking into that. Icon, of course, at 35 cents. I mean, Icon never dropped below its original 11-cent ICO price. I do wish I would have loaded up more on Icon because that was one of my original ICO picks. Steam with a lot of controversy and stuff. I'm going to touch on that on Monday once I've had the opportunity to really dive into what's been going on. I mean, basically, it just looks like a lot of these exchanges and Justin Sun and all these people. It's like a fairly contentious war that's basically Steam CEO, as I understand it, sold Steam to Justin Sun and basically left, but a lot of the coins that he also sold were being held. I don't know all the details, but then those held coins ultimately screwed a lot of people because it enabled the exchanges to vote some people out or basically centralize the system. And so there's a lot to it. And I don't know all the details, quite frankly, because I've been on vacation, but I've been seeing the headlines and reading little bits and pieces. So I will be touching on that most likely on Monday. And Qdom is up 8%. So that's nice. OMG is up. I mean, a lot of my old school fun favorites are up. So I feel good about that. So I'm going to talk about this cruise, this vacation I went on. How was the food? The food was good. I left like 290, I think it was like 294 pounds. I just weighed myself at 302. So it's time to cry. I gained a little bit. And what's funny is, well, of course, I always weigh myself first thing in the morning. So, this is all day after I've been drinking, eating multiple times today, all that stuff. So, I'm probably going to be under 300, to be fair. So I didn't gain that much. I think I gained 5 pounds. I think my wife gained like 3 or 4. So it wasn't that bad, but we also didn't go hogging everything. And we got a lot of exercise. I got more exercise this past week than I've had in years. Just walking all over the place. So here's one of the first things that happened. So we're on the plane and we're flying, right? And this isn't an advertisement for Royal Caribbean, just so you guys know. They haven't paid me anything. They're not incentivizing me to say anything. As a matter of fact, they're probably not going to like a lot of what I have to say, to be frank. But you know me. So anyway, we're on the plane, and all of a sudden I see this human-sized figure drop to its knees. So like I have to fly first class, and I didn't even want to bring that up because I don't want to sound like I'm boasting or anything, but I had to fly first class. It's the only way I have leg room, and they serve you drinks, so it keeps me loaded, so I'm not freaking out about like where the impact zone's going to be. And it does help. And this trip wasn't as bad. It was basically about 2 hours each way. We flew to Fort Lauderdale, and that's where our port was for the cruise ship. And then from there, we went to Cozumel, Mexico, and Grand Cayman Islands. Okay. So, and it was cool. But so the very first thing that tripped me out was I'm sitting in my seat, and like, you have the flight attendants at the front, and it looked like a CPR dummy or something. I thought somebody had pulled a CPR dummy out of like a closet and they were going to do a demonstration. And this CPR dummy basically went to its knees and then pow, just face planted right on the freaking floor. And it wasn't a CPR dummy. It was a woman who straight passed out. Like, this was at the very beginning of the flight. We're already airborne, and this woman just drops to her knees, face plants, and then everybody rushed to her aid. I guess she was having like a heat. Oh, she was overheating or something. I'm not sure. She ended up being okay. What's funny is on the flight home, we saw her and her husband, and my wife was like, "Wait, weren't you on the other flight?" And she's like, "Yes." She was so mortified. She's like, "Yes." And of course, me and my big dumbass, I'm like, "Oh my God, I thought you were a CPR dummy that fell over." That's what I said, like in front of everybody. I was not thinking. She was mortified. Her husband thought it was hilarious. And it was so bad. I felt really bad for this woman. And I almost said like, "Oh, come Monday, everybody will have forgotten all about it." I seriously thought a woman dropped dead on the flight. So it was pretty crazy. In chat, like, I know that this is going to be a wildly popular video or anything, but I am kind of just talking about the vacation, and hopefully it helps some of you guys. In chat, how many of you guys have ever been on a cruise? I see Ruben. Ruben, I love cruises. You can eat a lot, or you can be healthy. You can rest all day or be in activities. Tons of choices. Okay. Oh, and there's somebody spamming some get-rich-quick scheme or something like that. No thanks. So anyway, okay, so we finally get to Fort Lauderdale. We ended up we got a hotel the night we came into Fort Lauderdale because we didn't want to like rush to port and all this stuff. We didn't want it to be madness. So we got a hotel, and we got out of the airport, and we immediately just wanted to grab like the closest hotel possible because we were already kind of wore out. And we ended up at this hotel. It was like Sea by the Cove or whatever, and it was like $100. It was cheap when all the other hotel rooms around it were like 300 plus, and it was a total like shithole. Like, it was really a shithole. Pay the extra money. It was dingy. It hadn't been rehabbed in a long time. We were making jokes. Like, we didn't even want to touch anything. Like, it wasn't that bad, but it was just bad enough that everything you did was a second guess. And let's just say not much happened in that hotel. And so we get up the next morning. I get a coffee from the coffee place downstairs. It was almost curdled. It was disgusting. I'm like, how do you guys stay in business? So anyway, it was just so bad. Corona coming out party. Yeah, nobody got Corona. I was actually hoping to catch the norovirus so that I thought I could lose some weight. We didn't go to the casino because I did a lot of research about cruise ships and all that stuff. There are no regulations to casinos on cruise ships because they're international. And they can do whatever the hell they want, man. They can have as many cards in a sleeve. They can rig the whatever. I'm not saying they do, but I'm saying they could. And if you could, it's likely you might. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Royal Caribbean or any other cruise line does anything shady. I know I didn't hear any jackpots going off for the entire week I was there on those slot machines. Unless they're quiet, but I didn't hear it. I can walk into just about any casino in the tri-state area, man, and if you're there for 10 minutes, you're hearing some jackpot going crazy. So, no, the carpet wasn't sticky in the hotel, but it was not someplace you want to stay. So anyway, we finally get to port, and it was pretty crazy. Like, we got passports, and we ended up getting on the boat, and immediately it hit me, the motion. We were docked, like we weren't even going anywhere yet. And the motion of this boat, let's put it this way, it was so bad. So my wife thought, well, because she knows I get motion sick, and she thought, well, our cabin was right at the front of the boat. It was like deck 9, right at the front. We had a cool ocean view, a deck view. That was cool. And, but the motion sickness, let me tell you, if you get motion sickness at all, stay the hell off a cruise ship. Now, I did notice that there were a lot of people that had these little patches behind their ears, and apparently they work really well, but I didn't have any of those. My wife got me something called C-bands, which are these little bands, and then there's a little white thing that like kind of pushes in like a pressure point. Those did nothing. It was like I don't know, it was a gimmick. So after like the first 2.5, 3 days, I was so sick that the only thing I could do to not feel the sickness was pound scotch. And I'm not kidding. I basically had to pretty much stay drunk the whole week. And this was after I decided to go back to my cabin and make myself throw up 8 times. And I'm not exaggerating. I threw up 8 times, and I still felt it, but it did take the edge off, and I kind of did feel a little better. And I couldn't take Dramamine. You're not really supposed to take Dramamine if you take high blood pressure pills. And I did end up. I was talking to a woman at the bar, and I was talking to a woman at the bar, and she was so sweet, and we were talking about it, and she actually gave me a little packet of Bonine ginger tablet. They're basically all natural kind of pills to help you with motion sickness, and I think those did help, but I wasn't sure what helped more, those pills or the scotch I was drinking, because that's really what was doing it for me. Even after being off of the boat now, like we just got back. I just got out of the bath. I just took a long bath. All the hot water in the house is gone. And I'm still getting waves of motion that's not actually happening. It's like your body gets so used to it and it's constantly trying to compensate. It's like a whoa, 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 whoa. Well, and that's on calm seas. Like it was bad. Last night was so bad. My wife woke up probably 5 times during the night. I woke up at 5 a.m. to look out the window. I thought we were going to like crash somewhere because it was like, for us, it was really heavy. I mean, it was really, really heavy. Activities. A lot of people say activities. Well, there are a lot of activities. We felt like we were on a senior cruise. The agent that we booked this with was like, oh, she's like, what? She asked my wife, like, what do you guys want to do? And we're like, we just want it to be a lot of fun. Like, we want it to be exciting and fun. And she's like, okay, cool. So she booked us this cruise. I mean, looking at the activities list, it was a lot of weird shit. Like, it was almost like it was everything that they could come up with while recycling the same ship crew. Sing along hour. I mean, it was just so much dumb shit. Honestly, it was so bad. I will say, though, that for as bad as everything was, the motion sickness and the activities were lame, everything was pretty boring. The service on this boat was unlike anything I've ever seen. Like, it didn't matter what you wanted, what you needed, where you were, whether it was food or drinks. Like, man, our bartender, there was one bartender. We had a bunch of them. It was only like the second time we'd gone to this guy. Everybody's international. Like, nobody speaks like English like I do on these boats. Like, everybody on these ships are international, which was great because, like, we had a Russian assistant waitress or server, and then we had like an Indian server, and then you have like a Filipino bartender and a Ukrainian bartender. Like, everybody was from some other part of the world. And these people really cared about their jobs like nothing I've ever seen, man. Like, the service was absolutely phenomenal. So for my wife and I, cruise ships are not our bag. But for somebody a little older that enjoys like bingo on a cruise ship, and like enjoys playing like Guess That Tune with a piano player and a crowd of other people that are in their 50s and 60s, you'll probably love it if you don't get motion sick. Because the service was great, the atmosphere was cool, everybody we met was cool. It was just very boring. And there are 2 days during the trip that you couldn't even leave the boat. They were called cruise days. It's basically, when you're going from one major port to the next. And you're trapped on this boat and you're left to whatever they have going on. Now, there were some cool things that we did. So this is a picture of my wife. You can't see them, but this was in Grand Cayman Islands. And we went to this Dolphin excursion. And it was basically a swim with the dolphins and all this other stuff. This was really, really impressive. And it was really sweet. These dolphins were so stinking cute. You can't even see them, but you start off you're laying like with your arms out in this big pool with the dolphins. And these dolphins come up underneath you in unison. They put their noses into your feet. And they just, I don't know how they know how to stabilize you, but they start taking off. You take off in the water and start to shoot up like you can see my wife, to the point where you're basically like you're skidding across the surface of the water with these dolphins pushing you the entire way. With the force, let me just tell you, I'm a 300-pound man. These dolphins did this to me. I got way further out. You have to lock your legs. These dolphins pushed my giant ogre ass like I was nothing. Like, you want to experience something that lets you know you're human and that your like size, might, power, whatever is minuscule compared to nature. These dolphins could have launched me to the moon if they wanted to. That's how this felt. And it was intense, and it was really, really freaking cool. This is one of the things we do, where you the dolphin basically swims up to you and they kind of lay on your hand and you can pet them, I have a bunch of other pictures and videos and stuff like that. This is a little video I did from the back. This was Independence of the Seas. Wow, that's loud. Sorry. Independence of the Seas, but that's just to show you how huge these boats are enormous. Absolutely enormous. So yeah, that was pretty cool stuff. I mean, the excursions were cool. Then we went to Cozumel, New Mexico. And we did this excursion in Cozumel where we had this really sweet guide named Alfredo. And it was Alfredo and then his driver. I can't remember his driver's name. I'm thinking it was Adam. But they were kind of a team, you know, and it was basically this thing where we went and we saw a little like Mayan ruin. You know, it wasn't a big deal. We have some pictures of it. I'll end up putting them on my Instagram. I'll put all the pictures on my Instagram for those of you that care. But we went to this Mayan ruin, and then we went to like this big tower that was actually designed apparently by Eiffel, you know, the guy who designed the Eiffel Tower, but it was a lighthouse. And then we went snorkeling, which I failed at miserably, to the point where I went ahead and just went back to land because my flippers wouldn't stay on. My mask was just really uncomfortable and awkward, and I just didn't like the way any of it felt. And then that salt water, you know, man, it hits you and it would knock my mask off. And then I would try to adjust my mask and I'm losing my focus and I'm trying to swim and stay afloat. And then my flippers would come off and then I'd put them and tighten them and then they'd snap off. And I'm like, oh my God, I just had enough and I couldn't get through it. But Kristen had a blast. She went around the whole circuit snorkeling and it was a really good time. And Alfredo was just so nice and so sweet. And like, you know, he made a lot of jokes about, you know, having 3 wives and kids and all this other stuff, you know. I mean, these guys, they really, I mean, they took us everywhere. We went to this really cool spot to have lunch where I had probably some of the best nachos I've ever had. It was in Mexico. These nachos were thick and big, but they just pile the meat on. They pile everything you want on. And it was just really good. But thank you, Alfredo, for a great time. Like I told him, I'm like, I'm going to talk about you on my YouTube channel, man. I was like, you know, I don't know. I just thought he was so sweet. And you could tell these guys, they all really care. You know, they care about making sure everybody has a good time. They care about everybody feeling safe. Because I had concerns, you know, about, you hear about people that they go off on these crazy excursions that aren't necessarily like everything that we did was basically sponsored by Royal Caribbean, which means they stay in constant communication with your ship. They know where you're at. You're not going to be left if like the Jeep or the bus or something breaks down. You know, the cruise ship isn't going to leave you because they know and it's sponsored. But then there are some people that go on these other crazy excursions all over Mexico and different places, and they end up kidnapped for ransom and all kinds of shit because they leave the security. That it's just things get shady. So everything that we did was basically like supported by or sponsored or part of Royal Caribbean. And I don't know, it was like it had its ups and downs, you know what I mean? But it was definitely our first and ultimately our last cruise. I think we're going to stick with resorts moving forward. But the food was great. Like, everything we had was fantastic. I think we both kind of expected a much bigger deal when it came to the food. Like, the restaurants were nice. But like, as far as the buffet, like the breakfast buffet was really good. But that was, and then the lunch buffet, we got the lunch buffet once and that was really good as well. But it's not really a dinner buffet. You can get whatever you want on the menu and you can get as much of it as you want. What I'm not looking forward to is and I'm waiting for it to hit my card is the gratuity, because I know that they take an automatic 18% gratuity on everything you do. Like we had the deluxe drink package, which was basically all you can drink. And there's no limit. And we both had it. It was a package. And we drank a lot. But you also pay an 18% gratuity on top of whatever it is you drink or eat. So whatever you do, you're paying gratuity. And that adds up. And I think they basically, at the end of it all, they add it all up and it just comes off of your card and you just got to see the bill. I don't even know what that's going to be yet. So we'll see, but I'm sure it's not going to be pretty. Crow got kidnapped. No, I did not get kidnapped. Mexicans in Cozumel talk 10 times more English than the Mexicans in the U.S. Oh, yeah, fluid. I mean, they're fluid English, and they were all great. So, yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I will never cruise again either. Yeah, it was tough. Try the Northwest cruise. No, thank you, Jack Martin. We are done with cruises. Yesterday was by far the worst day, man, because it's like the cruise was over. You're locked on the boat. You can't really go. You can't do anything. We were struggling. I was at a point where I'm like, man, I don't even care if there's a damn knitting class. Let's go knit. We'll go knitting. There was no such thing. But yeah, a lot of the activities on the boat were just really, really weak. I mean, really weak. And you know, you would think they would have had like some bigger names, some bigger stars, something. Even if they had to helicopter these people in, man, you know, just to get them on, do a show or two, get them off the boat. I don't know, but there was none of that. It was definitely a situation where, you know, you'd see one staff member where, you know, he's running a game show and then he's like directing traffic, you know, to get into the dining room. And then he's doing a different game show. Then he's doing a group dance session with music. I mean, it was just like they recycle these people over and over for everything they could do, which great. But you know, for as much money as these, I mean, that's another thing. When you're on these boats, you feel like everything is an advertisement. That was the one thing that kind of takes away from it. Every time you turn around, they're trying to sell you stuff duty free. Like, you know, because you could buy tobacco without paying tax. You could buy liquor. Like, they had some really cool bottles of Macallan that probably would have been $200 if I were to go to the store and get it. It was $100 on the boat. And then they ship it to you. And it's like, that's cool. But everywhere you go, people are trying to sell you shit. Whether they're trying to sell you on your next cruise or it's like these big real estate brokerages, you know, where they convince you to drop $800 on this bullshit real estate training, and then you go, and then the whole training course is all about selling you on the next training course. It's like, that's kind of what it felt like. It's just bullshit. It's nonsense. So there was a lot of that. There are a lot of sales all the time. Something's always for sale. All these watches are for sale. All this liquor is for sale. It was crazy. And honestly, it felt like a little too much. Like, if I go on a vacation and you spend the kind of money you spend on all the travel, you know, the tickets for the boat, the different packages and the excursions on top of it, you're spending a small fortune for a vacation. If I want something else, I'll fucking tell you, I don't want it constantly shoved in my face, and I don't want to constantly feel like I'm being sold something. You know, I feel like if you put me in an environment where I am gleefully happy to be there, I'll spend money all day. I'll spend money and I won't think anything of it because I will be so happy. I'll be enjoying myself so much. Don't tell me that the next class is bingo after a improv musical guy on a piano, after a like learn to dance session, like just a bunch of lame shit, and then put all this ad stuff and sales all around at the same time. Like, it's almost like an insult to injury. So, but that's just kind of how I felt about the whole thing. Internet connection was kind of bad. You know, the Wi-Fi, we had like a Wi-Fi package where we were able to have Wi-Fi on two devices. So basically her phone, my phone, or like when sometimes we would come upstairs, which we did a lot of, we watched a lot of Netflix on this boat. And I'm not joking. Like, between me being sick or us getting a little too drunk at one point or another, it was kind of like, do you want to go to the room and watch Netflix? We were watching a show called The Stranger, and it's pretty good. We're still in the middle of it. But yeah, like, we watched a lot of Netflix. So in order to, I'd have to switch my device. So I'd have to turn off like the phone I was using, and then activate the laptop to get my Netflix. And then it was probably a 5-minute buffer time. And more often than not, it was pixelated. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah. So you were on a cruise and now you got a cough. Great. Yeah. Well, and I did actually. I have had a cough for like 2 days, and it's getting better already. I honestly I think the cough came from my CPAP, because I sleep with that CPAP thing, and the air was weird and going from one place to another, and I didn't use distilled water, and I think I kind of developed a bit of a cough from that. But it has already been getting better. Hey, I'm here just to be able to catch your show. Thank you, Jody Taylor. Yeah, I know it's not really crypto, but I thought everybody might care a little bit anyway about where I've been all week and what I've been doing, and just kind of give you guys a straight up and down lowdown. They had a Game of Thrones themed vodka bottle that cost $1,500. What? That's silly. I didn't see any of that. You just want to relax and have a great time and experience something different in your life and have fun, not be bothered by crap. That's very true. What about crypto news? I already talked about that a little bit. Where am I? So yeah, Bitcoin, it looks like it's still coming down a bit. Let's look at it on 1 hour. Yeah. It's still coming down, but I mean, it typically does this on weekends. So, maybe it drops down here. Maybe it bounces off of this 8,800 somewhere thereabouts by tomorrow, maybe tonight, and then maybe it starts pumping back up again come Monday. We'll see. But that seems to be the typical pattern. I don't really sweat Bitcoin's price because I'm not trading it. You buy it and you hold it along with everything else in this current market, in my opinion. But again, it's not financial advice. But there's a lot of stuff going on. And it's nice to see some of the old school stuff getting better. Chainlink up 5.61%, but it's been kind of stale a little bit in comparison to some of the other stuff. And that's also just the way the market flows. An altcoin's going to pump 30%, drop 15, while something else pumps 30%, drops 15, and it's back and forth, which is one of the reasons why I'm very big on, I'm getting ready for this, folks, because this is going to start crushing. Hold on, I'm going to have to sneeze. Excuse me. Beta 15 for Windows, Beta 15 for Mac and Linux. The Crow Trader bot, man, this is the kind of market that the bot does really well in. It's that volatility. It's that crazy volatility. And so we're getting close. We're getting very, very close to launching the first live full version of the bot. And when we do, I'm going to start doing daily updates about Crow Trader and what I'm doing, what settings I'm using. I'm going to start doing volatility updates. So I'm going to share reports on what the most volatile coins are in the market on that day. And because the most volatile coins, you're going to be able to trade much quicker in and out of Bitcoin. And so I'm going to start doing that. So that's coming, and I'm going to try and help everybody I can use Crow Trader. Obviously, the community, the Crow Trader community on Telegram is really good. And, if you don't know much about it, you can always just watch this video, and it shows you a lot of screenshots, and I talk about it. And I'll probably do like a little 30-second promo that I'll start using on the channel here. But so yeah, I mean, that's it. I just kind of want to let everybody know, I'm back. I'm going to be getting back to work. A lot of stuff coming. And yeah, Royal Caribbean cruise. It was a cool one-time thing. Not really for us. Probably not going to do it again. We're going to be focusing on resorts. But I did get a passport. I did get on a plane to and fro. And motion sickness aside, I gave a boat a try. I'm really trying to expand because I know when the bull market really starts kicking off, my channel starts really blowing up again. There are going to be a lot of opportunities. There are going to be a lot of people like, hey, Crow, can you speak here? Hey, Crow, can you come to our convention here? And I want to be able to take people up on those opportunities this time around. I turned down so many people, so many opportunities because I was afraid to fly. And I'm trying to get over that. And so and on top of that, I want my wife to be able to enjoy really cool travel opportunities as well. And so it's just kind of me trying to swallow my own fears so that, because I know my wife is all about culture, all about diversity, all about like just just everything she can learn about, from dance and just everything. And I know that she wants to be exposed to a lot of that stuff in different parts of the world. And I want to be able to just let her enjoy a lot of that. So that's a goal, and we'll get there. So 36 minutes in, did they have Corona beer? I don't actually know if I did see any Corona beer, oddly enough. So can you explain how the bot works? Sorry if it's a stupid question, but I've been wondering for a while. What does it do exactly? I'll do it. I mean, I have videos. In a playlist. I have a Crow Trader playlist that'll tell you all about the bot. So good to see you and experience something different. Like you only live once, Crow. Enjoy every moment, man. Yeah, thank you, King Cardano. That's true. I mean, I'm trying. I'm working on it. Inch by inch, I'm getting there. So, there's definitely going to be a lot more opportunity coming. And, yeah, that's it. That's all she wrote. So, oops, I just pulled my little thing there. All right. Okay, guys, so I will be back on Monday, and I'll be back to crypto. I'm going to be working on, I've got more prediction videos. It seems that a lot of people are really liking the millionaire mindset video that I put out Thursday, and my prediction videos are making more sense to people. And look, even projects that I've been really bullish on, even projects that I hold, I'm not going to be sitting here on my channel pumping shit projects just so that I can try and drive the price up so I can dump it on people. Every one of you guys knows that is not my way. You're going to win some. You're going to lose some. That's just the nature of the beast. And if I don't think a project is holding its own, and I don't think a project is, if the likelihood of a project meeting its original all-time high and or exceeding it is not strong, I'm going to tell you. And I think that a lot of the initial projects that I've been going over and looking at, it's much more likely that they will meet and or exceed their all-time high. But there are going to be projects where I just don't think anything's going to happen with them, and I hold them, and I will be telling you about them. But those are also projects that I don't want to jump the gun on and say, well, this is crap, this is crap, this is crap. And then, 2 days later, they come out with all this great news, and I was wrong because they just didn't have anything out there. So I'm trying to give them time to get back into the swing of things. So I will. Do you still beat your wife? Yes, all the time. As a matter of fact, because she's so small, I like to beat her up and stuff her in my pocket. No, actually, my wife beat my ass once, years and years ago, and I absolutely deserved it. Let's just say she's got a mean left hook. So, love the channel, man. I'm in Indiana. I've been in the crypto space since the end of 2018. Perfect time to get in. Exactly. That's pretty much the note there. I think we're headed to 7Ks. Well, people have been saying that for a while. Thanks, Crow. Still trying to figure out Crow Trader. Make sure that you get in the Telegram group, because some of those guys are super, super sharp, and they're more than willing to help. Can you take a look at Zilliqa, Crow, if you have time? I will look at Zilliqa. I looked at it in the past, and I kind of went, nah. I'll leave it for the future, but I will be looking at Zilliqa, and I'm going to be looking at a lot of the top 100 at some point with predictions, but I just want to make sure I have time to really get updated on where they're at compared to where they've been. And I don't want to just throw crap together for SEO and extra traffic. I want it to actually mean something. So I will get to Zilliqa as well as a lot of the others. So until then, crow your coins, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining me, and I'm glad to be back. See ya.